it, we can do that. So
Lovely.
that's where all the sponsorship money goes to.
Yeah.
So most of what is going to Aware is really the submission fees from
The submission fees. That's excellent. Brilliant. Okay. And so you mentioned the awards, the final, or everything's been going on in the background. You've had shortlists, and now the award ceremony is coming up. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process. So a certain month of the year, you take all the submissions in, and then it's shortlisted. How does it work?
So we had submissions for 2 months this year, in April and May.
Okay.
So they had an 8-week gap to send in submissions.
Okay.
And
spread the word about the CAP Awards.
All the people on the committee are all either authors or book people, or from publishing, or they've all got their foot in a book somewhere.
Yeah.
somewhere along the line. So the committee would go through the submissions, and a long list would be made from the committee. Then from there, the long list is then sent to librarians. A library down south in Kerry, in Mullingar. So we have Midlands, in the east, in the west, and up north. So we have librarians from all over Ireland going through the long lists and bringing them to a short list.
Right.
Then once you have your short list, they are sent to the judges. So there are 4 different categories, and then the book cover category, all the shortlisted books are entered into
that. Lovely. That's a lovely category.
And then once that all comes back and we have the 5 winners, then the committee come in once again and choose an overall winner. So we also have an overall winner for this Friday.
Excellent, very exciting.
Very.
And then I kind of, on my little list of questions, I mentioned there's 4 categories.
Yes.
Are there plans in the future to make more categories, or?
Absolutely. We did start off this year with an adult, a young adult category also, and we didn't get enough young adults.
Yeah. It's a weird one. YA.
So we had to put it as children, so literally 0 to 18 as children, which isn't ideal, but it was the only way of including the young adults that had entered. So all the young adult authors who sent in anything were sent an email to say, if you wish not to enter under the children's section, that's fine. They could have their submission refunded to them, but they all chose to stay part of the competition. And we had hoped that we would have more, like if the fiction section was divided well, but it wasn't this year. So we didn't have a huge amount of crime fiction. We didn't have a huge amount of sort of romance fiction. It was very, very mixed. So it's fiction in general. And as the years go by, I would hope that we will have many more.
The one thing that struck me was, and I did mention it to you before, is that the non-fiction, that I presume that memoirs or biographies would go into non-fiction. And I know in our little group we have quite a few memoirs. So I was thinking, it probably deserves a section of its own, maybe something for the future as well.
Absolutely. My sort of thing, the committee were quite disappointed, and I said to them, the Irish Book Awards started with 10 people who were bookie people getting together in a hotel room in Dublin and saying we should have an Irish Book Awards, and there were very few. They set it up, and there were very few categories that year. And now I think they're 20 something years going, and there are a huge amount of categories. We are year 3, but
you've had COVID.
So we feel like we're year 1 again. So, and this will, getting the word out to groups like your own will make sure that next year has hopefully another category, hopefully, especially young adult. I think young adults and children's are so different that it was hard to put them into the same category, but we didn't have a choice.
And you've remained inclusive as possible while doing so. Okay. And then some other questions I had, just kind of general about self-publishing, and one was, how do you think that these awards benefit self-publishers, like to be shortlisted to win, or to be involved and to be mentioned for indie authors?
I mean, a number of authors who have won the CAP Awards in 2016 and 2017 or been shortlisted have gone on to do really, really well in their field. One of the authors, is now one of our judges, Orna Ross, and she
Oh.
won, I think 2017, no, 2016.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really helped her as an author. And now she travels internationally, and she does really, really well with her self-published books.
Excellent.
And Caroline Farrell was our winner of fiction in 2017. It's hugely helped her. She's also a screenwriter. And, you know, it's just made it go from being almost a hobby to being something that they do professionally.
An expensive hobby.
It's an expensive hobby, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's, you know, all the other authors, the children's authors, just went on to do very, very well. One of our committee members, Dolores Keaveney, was shortlisted in the last awards, and she's been on all sorts of programs nationwide and everything. She has libraries have her children's books, sort of a trail in the local parks and all this kind of things, her Queen Bee books and all that. So, you know, having that tick beside your name to say, I was awarded this award, and it makes a big
it
big
elevates things, doesn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Apologies.
And that's fine. If it's not that, it'll be my dog barking in the background. And then the other question I wanted to ask you is about these awards and getting it out there and getting people to learn about it. How do you think it will change people's perceptions of self-publishing or independent authors? Because we've seen, I don't know if you heard Jodie Picoult's video, we won't go into it too much, but really she was basically saying, oh, it's the easy way out to self-publish, which we all know it's certainly not.
Absolutely not.
But, you know, it has changed, but there is still this perception of, you know, self-publishers are down here, kind of, you know.
And it is unfortunate. And you know what, shoot me if you like, but there are an awful lot of self-published books that are not good. People are writing books themselves. They're not getting, I think editing is the big word.
It's a big one.
Absolutely, the be all and end all of your self-published book. And I say that about self-published books, and now I'm going to say about traditionally published books. I think traditionally published books are more and more becoming badly edited.
I would agree with that.
I'm reading so many traditionally published books and going, where was your editor here?
And do you think it's because the publishing houses just aren't investing in the books as much as they used to, or?
I think that must be the case.
Yeah, it must be,
But I also think as a self-published author, most of us are going to send our book to our editor and put absolutely everything into it before it gets to the editor.
And
then when it gets to the editing stage, you go back and you do it again and again and again. Whereas I think traditionally published authors are presuming that your editor is going to do this work for you. And that's not the case. They are going to put a certain amount into it. But if you send, you know, I think I did a bit of a count earlier this year with one particular book, and by the time I got to page 50, there had been 15 typos, and I think I had one typo in one of my books, and it broke my heart.
No, I've my book release, actually I sent out the wrong copy with typos and had to republish very quickly. So
so it's just that I feel, you know, that's the big thing. And certainly I'm not judging the CAP awards, but those who are judging, they're looking at the editing. If you have typos in your blurb, if you have typos in your introduction before you even get to page 1, they're going to be put aside. But the reader will do that anyway, you know, or the bookseller who's going to put your book on the shelf won't sell it if they feel that it is. So as self-published authors, we have to work much harder than traditionally published authors to be believed, you know, authenticity of you as an author. You know, if you want to really believe in yourself, then believe in your editor first.
So the big message is have your work polished. It's really
absolutely
important.
Polish up you've got your gem, polish up your gem, and you know, not by your mummy or your sister. My sister she's an English teacher, not by her, not by, you know, anybody. My writing group that I've been working with for 12 years, we will edit each other's work, and then we will go back and do it again and then we will send it to the editor, the person who's professional at this job, who absolutely knows what he or she is doing.
And it's important to find a good editor as well, because I think the market is also flooded with, I mean, I've done a few courses with CIEP. I still don't consider myself an editor. I think there are lots of people out there that consider themselves editors, but they're actually not. So that's another thing to watch for as an independent author. I think make sure you go for a professional.
Absolutely professional. And you know, and the only way to find out are they professional is look at the books that they have edited and read them. And if you feel these books are well edited, then you have a good editor. If you feel they're not, then look again.
Great advice. Important advice, I think. And that's really it for me. I think we've gone through all my questions. I think that the CAC Awards, I will share it, I will push it. I think it's brilliant innovation. And I think you're an inspiration and an advocate, not only for writers, but you're you know, for aware as well. So well done you.
Reasons there. But you are inspiring yourself, Claire, because you've set up this group. There does need to be more groups like that in Ireland. And perhaps, you know, if there are other awards in Ireland as well. I think there used to be an award in Ireland, but it other than the CAP Awards, but it didn't last. It's not, you know, for us as a committee running an award like this, it's difficult because it does take up a huge amount of time, but because it's for a charity, for Aware, every penny that's going in to the award is going to Aware. So you committee working for nothing, you judges working for nothing, you're depending on sponsorship, you're depending on people getting it out there for you in the media. And you know, it's not going to be monetary wise, it's definitely not the thing to be in. But as I say, it's all for charity.
It's a very worthwhile thing to do. Well, I will do my best to get loads of submissions for you. Let's double those for next year.
So it should be open again the end of March next year. We're hoping to have a launch in Pearse Street Library with Dublin UNESCO Literature have said that they will have a launch party, so to speak, with readers from this year's shortlisted and winning categories, giving some readings and having a bit of a
lovely. That sounds really great. And then your opening period, did you say it goes on for 8 weeks, or it did this year?
April and May.
For submissions. That's brilliant. Okay, so that's long enough, isn't it?
It seems like why the end of May, you know, and you're not having the awards till beginning of November. Because it takes so long. I've been through that process. You know, that process takes a long time to get through the long list, then the short list, and then the winning, and then the overall. So it takes time.
Okay, no, I can understand that. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Carolann. I appreciate it a lot. I'm going to share this into our group, obviously, but as you say, it's okay for anyone to share it and spread the word about the CAC Awards. Lovely. Brilliant. Lovely. Well, thanks a million. Lovely to see you. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
If I can learn how to turn this off, there we go, end. Bye-bye.
Claire, can I just say before you go, I know that this Friday night is invites only. If you did have time to come this Friday to the awards, you'd be very welcome, and to bring somebody with
you. Thank you. Know, thanks a million.
You would like to come. It's we'd love to be inviting everybody, but it's not a huge function room, and we have already, you know, almost reached our quota. So, but you're very welcome to come along.
Thanks a million. Much appreciated, Carolann. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye now. Bye.